Hello, we are live, and today I am continuing our series all about making work awesome. If you have not joined me before for one of our live videos, I'm going to throw out some questions to you. So if you are here, join in the comments. I am looking for your comments. If you're here now, or as you're joining, just pop in a little hi so I can see you joining me. And my name's Pam Ross. I am from Blue Rebel Works. Our mission is to improve people's lives by making work awesome. And we keep on hearing about this great resignation coming out of the pandemic, and my dream is to make work so awesome that nobody feels like they need to resign in order to live their life to the most fullest extent. So I would love to hear what makes work awesome for you. If you are here, tell me in the comments, just say hi and let me know what does make work awesome for you. What are the things that when you leave work that day or turn off your computer or whatever that is, what makes work awesome for you? When do you know you've had one of those really awesome days? What stands out for you? I imagine a world where people wake up on Mondays saying TGIM because they're so excited about the next work day. I imagine a world where the fun doesn't happen after work at the after party, but work is enjoyable itself and it feels fun just being engaged in your work and what you're doing with your colleagues. I imagine a world where people are able to do their best work and to reach their potential through all the learning and growth that they're getting at work, and that they still have energy left at the end of the day for their life outside work. So if you also would love to work and live in a world like that, give me a heck yeah in the comments. So, today, I am continuing our series all about making work awesome. About a few weeks ago, we introduced our awesome model. It is these seven areas of seven kind of characteristics of an awesome workplace. And, there's some underpinnings around this, around, freedom and trust and things. But these are some tactical things to think about how you can grow more awesome work. So I have in previous videos talked about accountability. How do we build cultures, whether you are the organizational leader, a manager or supervisor, or an individual contributor? How do you create more personal responsibility at work where you feel like you're making a difference and your work matters because you know what the outcomes and results are? How do you create an environment where you feel like you can bring your whole self to work and that all the diverse personalities, whether it's neurodiversity, all the different diversity is recognized and appreciated, and everyone feels included for who they are, not having to fit in, that whole self piece. How do we make sure people are empowered? How do we create safety on teams so people can speak up and have different ideas and that sort of thing? So I have done previous videos on those. For today, we are talking, where am I? About the O in awesome, which is opportunities. How can we create work environments and cultures where people reach their potential, where they're learning and growing and feeling fulfilled by all of that growth? So whenever we talk about awesome, we want to look at ways that an organization can help with this, ways that a leader or supervisor can help, and ways that anyone can make a difference. So I would love to ask you, what are some things that your organization does really well to provide or communicate opportunities for growth and learning? Maybe there's some things that your organization does. So if you're here watching in the replay or live, let me know, what are some things your organization does to provide or communicate opportunities for growth and learning? Now, one of the things that you can do well as an organization is just communicate more. I've talked to some organizations that say, we put it out in our newsletter, we put out a newsletter every month or every quarter, and it says what the learning opportunities are, and that's our communication strategy. So if you're communicating something once a month through an email or an e-newsletter or something, chances are it's not getting to everyone. So I want to encourage you to just really rethink the ways you're communicating. Where do people get their information? Is it through maybe shift meetings or huddles? Is it through emails? Through Slack? What are the different ways you can use to communicate learning? Even something as simple, once you're back in the office, or if there are people in the office, as a page on the back of the stall or in front of the urinal that tells what's happening. But really, get creative about the ways you're communicating your learning opportunities. If you have formal opportunities, I would suggest that those are not just once or a one-off or a once-a-year type thing. We've really found the most effective actual learning that creates behavior change is learning that it happens in bite-sized pieces, building on each other over time with lots of touch points and practical opportunities to put what people are learning into practice at work. So if you are creating or providing formal learning opportunities, I encourage you to not think of things that, you send people off to for 3 days somewhere and they come back and they're going to be a changed person. Rather than doing that, look at bite-sized chunks and how you can deliver learning throughout time rather than kind of one-off things. The next thing for organizations and leaders is really to make learning a part of everyone's job. The more people kind of develop the skill of learning and learning agility, the better they're going to be no matter what position they're in, no matter what you want them to learn. The more people practice learning, the better they are at learning quickly. So make it part of everyone's job to be learning new things and really normalize time to learn. This is one of the things that a lot of people are struggling with, is finding time to, maybe go to that workshop or spend time learning something new. And we often send some mixed signals. We might allow someone to sign up for a leadership program, but then really not support them taking that time to go to monthly sessions or things like that. So make sure that you're not sending some mixed signals about whether learning actually is important. Also, learning agility, even if what people are learning is not directly related to the job, encourage that learning anyways. When people are learning things that they're interested in, they're going to be more engaged in it. They're going to be more likely to be accountable to what they're learning and to use it. So let them learn whatever it is that's really interesting and appealing to them. Growing that skill of learning is going to help them no matter what. If you don't have a budget, there are tons of learning opportunities available today, whether that is Coursera. And actually, I'll ask you, what sort of low cost or no cost learning resources have you found? Are there different places that you go, whether it's online or in the world, that help you to find low cost or no cost learning opportunities? Some opportunities are Coursera, which is university courses that you can take for free or pay a small fee to get a certificate. edX is very similar, also courses from all over different universities, and really great learning. There's some free courses on Allison.com. You can look up things like Google's rework resources, even podcasts, YouTube channels that are helpful. There is kind of sky's the limit lately around low cost or no cost learning. There is no reason or excuse for not finding opportunities for people to learn as long as you are committed to providing that time. So tell me, what low cost or no cost resources have you found really helpful for learning? The next thing is, let's talk about what you can do if you're a manager or a leader in an organization and you just really want to amplify the growth for your team. So first of all, coaching and mentoring, and I'm going to separate those because coaching is all about asking questions. Coaching is asking open questions, getting people to think differently, to think about how they're thinking. And this is going to help them with learning everything. Coaching is such an essential skill. We actually, in our leadership development programs, work coaching into pretty much every session that we do. And we practice peer coaching to give leaders those skills of really being great at asking good questions that help people think differently and think about how they're thinking. That is so essential and helpful. And if you're a leader and you can ask those open-ended questions instead of giving answers, that is going to make a huge difference in people's learning. Mentoring. Mentoring is separate or different from coaching, and you might pair these together. Do some coaching and mentoring. Mentoring is about sharing things that worked for you, sharing what's happened in your experience, and introducing people to mentors or experts in areas that they want to learn about. So you may not always be the best mentor for someone. In fact, it's probably better to give them a mentor or introduce them to someone who could mentor them who they don't report to. So as a manager or a supervisor, you can find those people and kind of introduce them and open up those opportunities for mentoring for people. Think about how you can give opportunities for stretch assignments or exposure or growth within the work. One way is meetings. Listen, you're in too many meetings probably. Everyone I talk to is in too many meetings these days. So find opportunities for your high potential team members to actually participate in those meetings in your place. That's going to give them lots of exposure, hearing what people are talking about in different ways, how they can show up and really be a part of different kinds of conversations. So find a meeting. If you did one thing leaving this video, you might find one meeting each week that you can send one of your team members to in your place so that they get that exposure and that opportunity. Feedback. Feedback is so essential to people's growth and learning. We teach a kind of one-to-one style that in every one-to-one, there's a feedback conversation. And if you've seen the Pendleton method, you can Google that Pendleton method of feedback. We have found that to be most effective, especially in a hybrid world. And it's a coaching model of feedback where people are bringing feedback to you and you're able to have that really effective feedback conversation. Make sure that you're having those feedback conversations regularly. What's going well, what people can improve, having them think about that and giving your feedback. And then finally, give them challenges. Is there a new project that might be a stretch for them? Is there, something that they're working on that could be even better? Always challenge people. How can we not just do this work, but do this work in an awesome way? How can we make it better all the time? So give people challenges. And one thing, for leaders and individuals, it doesn't matter what your role is. One of the most essential things around opportunity is realizing that learning is happening all around us all the time. But you need to pause and reflect to recognize that and to take in the learning. So reflection time is a huge opportunity for growth and learning. So I would love to ask you a question. Hey, what new things have you learned over the course of the pandemic? Take a pause and really think about that. What things have you learned about how you connect to the world or people around you? What new things have you learned about how you work? What new things have you learned about yourself over the course of the pandemic, about what's important to you? Reflection time is a huge opportunity for growth and learning. So I really encourage you, no matter what your position is, to take time to reflect every week. It might mean asking yourself, what did I do really well this week? What are some things I would do differently or I could improve on? What am I learning about my own patterns of behavior? Ask yourself some reflection questions regularly because that is a huge opportunity for learning. We don't always have to be looking for formal, structured learning and courses. We can be looking at what's happening all around us. So I would love to hear from you if you're here either watching live or in the replay. What new things have you learned about yourself, about the world, about work over the course of the pandemic? Tell me. I would love to hear. And then finally, I just wanted to share some ideas. If you are an individual working in a company and no one's giving you an opportunity, a new position, a course, a formal learning opportunity, stop waiting for someone to give you the learning. Seek it out. You have opportunities, again, all around you. Don't focus on formal university courses or a new position to get your learning. You can learn where you are. You can be growing all the time. Look for networking events, whether they're live, online, in person. There are tons of meetups or networking events held by associations. Tons of free conferences have been happening all the time. Look on LinkedIn and different groups that you're in. There are probably opportunities for learning everywhere. Listen to podcasts, read some new books that are related to something you're interested in. And as you're doing that, make sure you're actively listening or learning. So I suggest that if you're listening to a podcast that's really interesting to you, have a notebook with you. Write down the things that stand out or ideas for you to put into action. If you're reading a book, don't just read the book. Take a notebook with you and write down the things that are like a spark of idea or inspiration. Write down the things that are things you can bring back to work. Write down the things that you want to share with others. Do your learning actively because that's going to be way more powerful. I would love to ask you, if you're here live or in the replay, what are your favorite informal learning options? Are there certain podcasts that you love listening to? Tell me what your favorite podcasts are. Is there a YouTube channel that you go to for inspiration and learning all the time? What's your favorite book that you've read lately that's really taught you something? Have you taken a free online course that's been really life-changing or really helpful and practical for you? Share what you've learned and what's working for you. Which brings me back to my final sort of tip around learning, which is to share what you've learned. When you teach others something new you've learned, you're getting the opportunity to learn it twice and learn it much more deeply because you're going to have that conversation. They might have some questions that cause you to think more deeply about what you've learned. So share what you are learning. Whether you're an individual contributor or a leader, you can do this all the time. Share with your colleagues, share with your manager, share with your team what you're learning. They'll learn, so you're giving opportunity to them and you're learning twice. So again, tell me in the comments, what are your favorite informal learning options, podcasts, videos, books, etc. I'm sure that everyone can learn from each other. And tell me something new you've learned over the course of the pandemic. And my final opportunity that I'm going to throw out there for you is to make sure, if you want more opportunities for learning, if you want to develop really great team members, make sure to follow me, subscribe to my YouTube. And if you want to bring our learning programs into your organization, reach out. We tailor our programs to help you build your culture and reach your strategic objectives, always with a lens of making work awesome for everyone. So stay tuned. We've talked about how you can create opportunity as part of our awesome model, whether you are leading an organization, leading a team, or an individual contributor. That was today's video in our awesome series. I will be back to talk about meaning and purpose and how do we create that, whether you're an organization, a leader, or an individual contributor, in our next live in this awesome series. So make sure you're following and join me and share your own opportunities and learning and how you're making work awesome. Thanks.